Okay, yep, nice to see you here again. Looks like everything's good. Okay, we've already gone a little bit over time, so we'll just get started now. Okay, that's great. Okay, so welcome back. This is day 4 of learning Python. Okay, so it's still Python 3, nothing's changed. And yeah, so last class we learned what Python operators are. We learned how to use all the arithmetic operators in Python. We also learned how to get our Python program to collect user input, and we learned how to assign values to variables. So since we actually learned some pretty important stuff that we're going to need in the future in Python, I think it's better if we just go over it in the IDE itself in an IDE. So I have my IDE open. Let me go full screen so we can see everything more clearly. And yeah, we're just going to test out what we learned. So we learned about the input function. We learned how we want to assign it to variables most of the time, so we can actually call on that input later. So we'll just give it the value of, I just ran something I wrote. We'll give it the value of that. And yeah, so in here, and with the argument we can pass with it is a string that shows up in the terminal. So we can test out for ourselves. We can go type here. We can test our code by running it, and we can see our output over here. Let me zoom in so we can hopefully see my screen better. So yeah, that was the biggest thing we learned, the input function. Let's see, we learned the operators, plus, addition, subtraction, multiplication with that new symbol, exponentiation with that symbol, modulo, and lower division and regular division. So we learned these operators as well. So hopefully you remember everything from last class now, and we'll get on with today's class. So let's get out of here. Okay, so here are our goals for today's class. We want to learn the comparison operators in Python. We want to learn about Python conditions. We also want to teach our Python program how to make decisions, because if you remember, we were having trouble doing that. There wasn't any clear way of doing that. And we also want to learn about something called chained conditionals as well as nested statements. Okay, so we're going to start off with conditions, but before that, we should even talk about why we need to teach our Python program to make decisions. So let's actually go back into the IDE again for a second. We're going to test out some stuff we were doing last class. We had maybe a print function. How is your day? Let me just write out some code we can test out. I'm just creating basically a communication between us and the program. So asks, how is your day? Type here. And if we were to respond, we want our Python program to print something afterwards, and it would say maybe we wouldn't be able to get it to have a good response. So for example, I'm just going to leave this empty for now. We're going to press run. Let me actually clear this out for us. Oops. Out of this. I'll run our code, and it asks us how our day is. So the thing is, no matter how we would respond to this prompt, or no matter how we would respond to this question our program asks us, it would always give us the same response. So currently, I actually have it set so it doesn't give us any response. It doesn't print anything out to the console after we type in our input. So I'll actually put something here. So I'll say, that's good. So after we type our input, it's going to say that's good. So let's actually clear this one last time, and then we'll run this. Type this, clear, that's good. Oh, no string, I need my double quotations. Okay, we should be good now. So we'll run this. How's your day? That's the print, the first print we have up here. Then we have type here, that's our input now. So we put in our input. I'll say, my day is going good, but just for the case of this example, I'm going to say not so good. So our Python program responds with that's good. So for many reasons, of course, That's going to cause many problems. And yeah, so no matter how we respond to our Python program, it's always going to give us the same response. That's one of the reasons we need to be able to make decisions, because the only thing we can do to fix this, the only thing we can do to fix this problem is by doing something like this. And it's more just pure text writing. So we can say, if you said your day is going good, great. Then I can get yes. Okay, so we can do something like this, and pretty much what we're doing here is that we're basically telling it to do these two possible outcomes. So now it still might not even work unless if they don't say good or great, they just say fine. So yeah, that just causes a lot of problems. So we can run this, and technically we've solved the problem just in this scenario. But what if the user says they're doing fine, they're not doing great? That's just a lot of typing you're going to be doing to get out the responses. So how's your day? I'll say good. I'll say good now. And now it's just going to respond to me with both options. So once again, for many reasons, this is very problematic. It's a lot of extra work, and the user themselves has to do a lot more reading to see this. So what we actually want, what would be most ideal, is that our Python program, it looks at the user's input, and then it makes a decision on how it's going to respond to it. So yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. We're going to continue on back to the slides presentation. So hopefully that makes sense about why we're even learning about getting our Python program to make decisions. And we can do it for many other reasons as well. So yeah, these are the goals for today's class. We want to learn how to fix that problem. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is conditions. So in the English language, the word condition, has two different meanings. Condition can be the current state of something or someone is in. Condition can also be certain circumstances required for something to happen. So for the first example, condition being the state of something or someone or something is in. Here's just a quote, maybe if you're still having trouble understanding it. So it could be quote unquote, the condition of this product is brand new. You might have heard this from a sales clerk or somebody trying to sell you something. They're telling you the condition of a product, so the state the product is in. For the next use of the word condition, certain circumstances required for something to happen. Here's just another quote. So once we agree on these conditions, we can get started. So once we agree on these circumstances, once we agree that this will happen, then we can get started. And of course, that might be said by a construction worker or somebody you're doing a deal with, maybe. So any questions so far before I continue on? Does everything make sense so far about conditions? Okay, so I'll just keep an eye on chat. We'll just continue on for now. So conditions in Python. Okay, that's good. Conditions in Python. So condition in Python can be related to only one of these meanings. It's related to the meaning of a condition being a certain circumstance required for something to happen. So it cannot be related to the state or something is in. We don't have that, or that's not what a condition refers to in Python. So yeah, it refers to circumstances required for something to happen. Okay, so why do we need conditions? Well, conditions are needed for our Python program to make decisions. Our Python program should make decisions under certain circumstances, and it's the first step to having our Python program make decisions. We need to give it a condition so it should know when it should do something, or that condition is basically telling it when. That condition is the when and when it does something. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense about why we need conditions. And yeah. Okay. So here's another example. This is just going back to what we just did in the IDE. So in the example above, no matter how many times we respond to our Python program, it will always give us the same response. So this is what we just looked at. Yeah, how it could be problematic. So we have asked us, hello, how are we? We type bad. It says that's good. So we do not want this for many reasons. Okay, so now we're going to actually talk about creating our conditions in Python because we just finished talking about what conditions actually are. So to create our own conditions in Python, we need to use comparison operators. So we're already familiar with the groups of operators, the three main groups, the ones you're probably using most often. There is another group of operators, but yeah, these are ones we're discussing. We've already discussed arithmetic operators and how we use them to perform mathematical operations. Now we're discussing comparison operators, and we use these to perform operations that compare values. Okay, so yeah, comparison operators are used to compare values between things, if I didn't already make that clear. In Python, after creating a comparison, your program will always return a value of true or false. And I have a question. Do you remember what type of data type true or false is, what that falls under, what category? Okay, while you're Boolean. Okay, yep, that's correct. I think you just misspelled it, but that's, yeah, of course, everybody misspells something. So yeah, Boolean, that is correct. So yeah, true or false falls under the data type category Boolean. So yeah, after creating a comparison, your program will always return a value of true or false. Okay, so comparing greatness. So when I use the word greatness, of course, just like in math class, I'm referring to the amount of something. So greater doesn't mean just being better in this scenario. So yeah, we're probably familiar with these symbols in math class, the greater than and less than symbols. They're angle brackets on our keyboard. And yeah, so I'm using the print function in this example down here, and we're making a comparison. So these are two operators. These are two comparison operators, sorry. So yeah, we're printing 2 greater than 3. We're basically asking if 2 is greater than 3. So we want it to print it out, and it prints out false to the console because that is false. 2 is less than 3, not greater than 3. So yeah, the same thing goes with okay, yeah, I just showed an example of greater than. The same thing follows with the less than. It's possible that you can only need to use one of these symbols and you just switch up the numbers instead, but there are 2 symbols you have options of choosing. So yeah, next is comparing similarity. So this symbol represents equivalence in Python. So something to actually mention, I'm just going to skip this slide for now, but something to mention is that this symbol, 1 equal sign and 2 equal signs, are 2 different symbols in Python. This 1 equal sign is actually an assignment operator in Python. We just learned it earlier because it's something we need definitely to actually assign values to variables. So yeah, this symbol is not a comparison operator, and it is an assignment operator, and we use it to assign values to variables. Now, on the other hand, this symbol over here, it also represents something being equal to something, but at the same time, now it's not really, it's more asking the question of if these 2 things are equal to each other. So yeah, we do not use this for assigning values to variables. So yeah, hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. If you have any questions, I'm still looking at chat. Okay, so yeah, here are the examples we have. So here we're telling it to print 2 is equal to 3. And of course, that's going to print false to the console because 2 is not equal to 3. And then here we have 5 is equal to 5, which is true. 5 is the same as 5. They're the same amount. And this prints true to the console. So yeah, remember, these 2 symbols are not the same. Okay, so there's actually another way we can compare similarity with the comparison operators. We can actually use another symbol which represents an equivalence. So this symbol with the exclamation mark and then equal sign, that represents 2 things not being equal. So it's pretty much the opposite of that last symbol we just discussed. So in this case, we're saying 2 is not equal to 3. And of course, we're using that print function so we can actually see our output in the console. And this prints true to the console because it is true that 2 is not equal to 3. Okay, so in the example 2, we're telling it to print 5 is not equal to 5. This prints false to the console because it is not true. 5 is equal to just 5. So hopefully that makes sense so far. So actually, let's go into the IDE again and let's test this out for ourselves, test our understanding on this. So one moment, let me clear this. Okay, so let's test this out. So here's what we just learned. Something else I can mention, this is outside of the presentation, but there are actually more comparison operators we can use. To be more specific, for example, we know that this represents equivalence, this represents inequivalence, this represents greater than, and then this represents less than. So you can actually get more specific with comparing similarity. We can use the less than or equal to symbol. So this is basically using both of these. So it's saying, is this less than or equal to this? And then we can also have, is this greater than or equal to this? So hopefully that makes a bit of sense. It'll make more sense when we actually start using it. So this is basically giving our program two options. It's either saying, this symbol over here is saying that do this. We can say that do this is less than or equal to this. So we're actually going to test those two out quickly. So we're going to use print. We actually don't need quotations because this is not a string. And we're going to say is 2 less than or equal to 2. So what do you think this is going to print to the console? Any guesses? This symbol is saying less than or equal to. And then if I were to switch it out like this is saying greater than or equal to. Yes, it is equal to. Yep, that is correct because it is equal to 2. So this is like doing or, so it can be either one. So we're going to run this and we'll say it prints true to the console. We can see that output over here. So yeah, this is giving two options, and sometimes this might be necessary in your program, but that's just getting more specific. Okay, so I'm going to do another one. So what happens if I say, let me think, 7, okay, so let's print this and we'll see the output. So we actually get true. So right now I'm using arithmetic operators and also comparison operators, and I'm comparing the values. So basically what this is saying is that 7 minus 1, 6 is greater than 6 minus 2, which is 4. So yeah, that is true. 6 is greater than 4. So I have another question for you guys. Let me think what could be a good example. I guess I'll do something like this again. Actually, hold on, I can give an even better example. I'm going to make it a little bit more complicated. I'm going to use some operators we haven't used in a minute. Okay. Actually, we'll just continue on. Just keep it simple. Okay. What if you use all the arithmetic operators in one bracket? How will it solve? Okay, so I guess we can try. So we'll go 2 plus 1, and then we'll do that equals 3. We'll do times 2 just to keep the number low, and then we'll do divided by. We'll use the bod. We'll use bed. I think you're talking about, well, it's called two different things. I think, yeah, it does use bedmass, I believe. So we'll do 2 plus 1 times 2 divided by 2. So that, let me make sure this is going to be easy. Okay, yeah, that equals 3 so far. And then we'll just leave it at this for now, just so we don't use too many. Well, there's not too many, but just to keep it simple for ourselves for this example. And we'll say is greater. And so we know this answer is 3, and we'll say it's greater than, I'll just copy and paste this and then change out the numbers. So I'll actually just double everything. So I'll say 4, 2, 4, 4. So 4 plus 2, 6 times 4, 24 divided by 4 puts us back down to 6. So this should return a value of false. So this operation is less than this. So let's test it out. And yeah, it does return a value of false. So yeah, it does do BODMAS or BEDMAS. Yep. So any questions? Does that answer your question? I'm not sure if I really actually answered your question. Hopefully I did. Of course, we could add more, but I was just doing this to keep it a little bit more simple, but we did use multiple. Okay, so we'll continue on. So we've tested it out. We can do this to compare values. Let me think. Hopefully we used all the comparison operators. We did not use not equal to. So we'll go, we'll just do simple for now, and we'll say 7. Say okay, so could you tell me what you think this would print out to the console? What Boolean data type will this print to the console? Okay, this would, yep, this would print true because this sign represents not equal to. So this would print true. If we did, we'll just test it out, I guess. So this prints true. And if we quickly change this one to this would print false now. So false. And then remember that if we only used one equal sign, it just doesn't really make sense because this is not a comparison operator. Okay, so good job so far. We're going to continue on now. We're actually going to start making decisions. So hopefully we know about conditions and comparison operators. So I guess just to reinforce it again, just to make it clear, because we didn't actually show what a condition looks like. A condition is basically this. So I'll say, actually, I guess I'll have a better example to show in a minute, just so we can keep it more clear. So I'll go back to the slides. And yes, we got comparing similarity, and let's move on. So finally, let's finish learning how to get our Python program to make decisions. Okay, so last step to doing this, we need if-else statements. So if-else statements are used for decision-making operations in Python. In Python, after creating a comparison, or actually this is incorrect. Anyways, continuing on. So this is the syntax for if-else statements. So we have if condition, and then this pass represents, or this pass is actually a keyword in Python that tells our Python just to skip through this. But anyways, normally we would have our code in here, our normal code in here, and we have else. So otherwise, if this condition isn't true, do this. So I don't think I explained that too well. So I have a statement here, basically just to translate it into text for us. If this condition is true, so if this condition over here, so whatever our condition is true. So we actually don't need to tell it it's true because it automatically assumes we want it to be true. So if this condition is true, do this. So in this case, we wrote pass this as a keyword to just skip through this. And then, yeah, so if this condition is not true, whatever condition we had here, if it's not true, it will skip all of this. It won't even run any of this code here that we would potentially have here, and we go to else. So else basically means otherwise. So if none of this is true, then just do this instead. Okay, so that, I'm not sure if I explained that to you well, so we're actually going to go in and do it for ourselves. We're going to create an if-else statement. So first, just to clear up everything, I'm going to clear that. Now we're going to write our code. So it starts off with if. I can actually create our own snippet, but we're going to create it from scratch ourselves. So we have if, and then we have condition. So we can create any condition. We can already actually maybe have a condition going with a variable. So actually for now, we'll do it like this. We'll have if 2 is greater than 3, put our colon so we can say something after. Then we can have whatever we want to run. So I'll say print, for both of them, it'll print something. So I'll say print correct. Need my string again. Okay, I'm just gonna have to just to save penalty from start. I'm just going to make the else statement. I didn't get my string right. I just noticed. I said wrong. Correct. So remember, I'm actually just going to do this down here so we can compare it to what we have up here. So let me bring this down a bit so we can see more of this screen. So I'm just going to go if. You can look at the statement. So it qualifies. So down here is just our basic format. So we have if condition. So we have if, and then we have our condition. In this case, it's just our condition is this, if this is true, and then pass, which is just a keyword in this case. We can erase this and we'd have our blank code here. And yeah, otherwise do this. So we're going to do something here. So now we're saying if 2 is greater than 3, print correct. If this is not true, if 2 is not greater than 3, print wrong. I don't have my closing bracket here. Let me add that. And then we'll test this out for ourselves. So keep an eye down here. And it prints wrong. So actually, this is a very simple example, but our Python program just made a decision. It didn't make a decision over our user's input, but it did make a decision over a comparison. So now we're going to take this to the next level, and we're going to do this with a user's input. So for now, we're going to go like this. Print. We're going to do the same example again. How is your day going? Just create this example quickly. Oh, I missed my string again. How's your day going? Then we'll get input. So I'll just call this answer equals. Then in between here, I'll say type here. I can actually leave this empty. I'll just fill it out. So answer equals input type here. Sounds good. Okay. So we're just going to run this for now. We know what it's already going to do already, hopefully. So how's your day going? Type here. We type our answer and it does nothing with it. So this is where we can create our if statement. So we can say if answer, its answer is a variable. We can still make a comparison with this. So we can say if answer equals, or actually double of this because it's a comparison operator. So say if answer is equal to, let's say, bad, or sorry, how's your day going? Well, we can even mix it up more. I'll say if answer equal to Jerry, do this. So this is our condition now. So this is our condition. And then we, of course, we have our if at the beginning. And yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. I'll just space it out so it looks cleaner. And yeah, so if answer equal to Jerry, then we pass our code here. So I can tell it to do anything I want. So I can say print. I'll just do print to keep it simple. That's not what I, or actually no, I'm going to make it even more simple because that's using my name's weird for how's your day going. I'll say if answer equals good, I'll say, go back here. That's good. Period. And then for else now, I can make an else. Making an else statement, by the way, is actually optional. You don't need it, but it's always good to have because if you don't have an else statement and this doesn't turn out to be true, nothing will happen. So we'll have else, and we'll say print. Since we don't know what they're going to say, we'll just say, interesting. Weird. So we're going to test this out. So if condition is true, print else, print, and we'll test this out. Okay. Oh, I'm missing my string again, my quotations. Let me do this quickly. I don't know why I've been forgetting to add that today, but okay. So we have our quotations now. I'm going to clear this out so this looks more clean. Let me close this again. I don't know why I opened that. Clear this out, and then we'll try running our code again. Okay, so it asks us how our day is going. Sorry for that background noise. I can't do anything about that. So yeah, it's going to ask how our day is going. We type our answer. So we're going to actually test out it being true first. We're going to test out this condition being true first. So I'm going to type exactly what it says, good. And it says, that's good. So now we're going to run this again just to make sure our else actually works as well. So I'll say, okay. Now it says interesting. So now we've actually gotten our Python program to make a decision under depending what happens, whatever the user input is. And we can add a lot more of these as well. Another term we can use is elif. Elif says otherwise, or elif says if this is not true. Elif says, well, do this then, and then do this then, check if this is true, check if this is true. And it says, okay, none of these are true, then do this. So we're going to test out elif. 1 second, I need to see something quickly. Believe, just 1 second. Anyways, any questions so far? I'm keeping an eye on chat as well. Yeah, I have not asked for questions. Any questions so far? Because we just discussed a whole lot about if-else statements. Okay, no questions. Okay, that's good. So we're going to test out elif now. So that's like else if basically. It's just elif. So we're going to do this. So we'll say elif answer. You can give it even more. So answer equals, instead of good, it says fine. And we can get it to do something again. So we're basically adding just another if statement within it. So there are actually multiple ways we can do something like this, and we're about to be talking about in a second. So anyways, elif answer equals fine. So if answer equals good, also, or if it equals this, and if it doesn't equal either of these two, else. So we're going to say elif answer equals fine. We're going to do something more interesting than that. I'll just say add. I can say print, and then I can tell it to print something. So I'll tell it to print in this case. Let me think. Sorry to hear that. And actually, yeah, we're going to leave it like this. And then we're going to say if you print anything else, so the only answers now this program is going to accept is good or bad. We'll say if you print anything else, we'll say, sorry, I don't understand. So this is not going to be the otherwise. So basically now our program only understands the word good or bad. So if we don't tell it good or bad, it's going to say, sorry, I don't understand. Let's just fix our spacing to it so can everything be clear to read. Okay, so print, how's your day going? Collect an input. If the input is equal to good, print that's good. Or if it's equal to bad, print that's if it's not equal to good, check if it's equal to this. If it's equal to this, sure, print that. If it's not equal to any of those, then otherwise just do this. So we're going to test it out now. How's your day going? So now I'm going to test out this elif statement. Sorry, I said elif statement. We're going to test this out and we're going to type bad. So it says sorry to hear that. So we can actually have as many of these as we want. So you can copy and paste that. You have a doubt. What's your doubt? So you can copy and paste this as many times as you want, and you can make it take as many different types of responses as you want. And I have multiple elifs, and it can be for each keyword I would like. So I can have, I don't know, and it can respond to I don't know in a certain way. It can respond to this in a certain way. It can respond to that in a certain way. So we can have multiple things. So yeah, just that. So what to do if we want to use inverted commas and if statement? I'm not too sure what you mean. Inverted commas, what do you do? Okay. So tell me if I'm wrong. I'm going to try to create a statement. Actually, I'm going to bring this all back. I'm going to try creating a statement. You can tell me if I'm wrong because I don't really understand your question too well. And then we can actually test it out if I don't know the answer. So we'll remove it. We'll remove all these extra elifs we added. Okay, so what would you like to do? Inverted commas. I'm not too sure what inverted commas are if they're just commas. Let me search. Oh, quotation marks. So that's my bad. Okay. What do we do if we want to use quotation marks in my statement? Yeah, I still don't understand your question though. In your if statement, you can use it. We used single quotations here. You can of course just switch these out for. Could you write your question out again, please? Let me scroll down, make sure. Yeah, could you write your question again, please? I'm having trouble understanding it. And hopefully my internet's not down. Using apostrophe in statement. So which part of the statement are you trying to use it? Which part of the statement are you trying to use it in? That you're having trouble. Oh, I think I understand what you're good instead of good. Yeah, you can just switch it out. You can use double or single quotations to create a string. Once again, I'm not sure if I'm answering your questions. So yeah, you can use double or single quotations. I just use single quotations because I don't like having to use shift to activate double quotations. But yeah, I can switch everything out with two double quotations. So I'm still not too sure about. Maybe you can unmute your mic and ask it again. Could you unmute your mic and ask your question if you do have a microphone? No, it's not that. Normal print statement, good instead of good. Let's test it out. So print. Good. Could you unmute your mic and maybe try asking your question again? I'm definitely having trouble understanding it. Using an apostrophe, normal, good instead of. Okay, I'm gonna wait for you to type out your question one last time, and I'll try to understand it. Let me drink a glass of water. I mean, like how you use the print. I mean, like how you will print the statement Adair's mom. Okay. So we're gonna fix that. Okay, I'm just gonna use the exact thing you wrote. Let me see where that tab is. So I'll just copy and paste what you wrote. I think I get what you're trying to say using an apostrophe with the print statement. And it's gonna, okay, so yeah, I get your question now. Okay, so what you're saying is that here we'll close off because we have this apostrophe here. So what I believe we can do, I don't think I've mentioned this, but I believe we can go like, let me get the closing right so it's can close off. 1 second, let me look for the have. Let me see. I mean, like how you always print statement. Okay, that's your question. Okay, good. Okay, so I think there are multiple ways you can do this. The first that comes off the top of my head, I actually don't know the proper solution. The first that comes off the top of my head is probably just using different using different quotations for both. So I just stick with double quotations and then capture it. Does that make sense? We can actually search up a proper way to do it. There might be a better way to do it, but what I'm thinking is that I would just use both of the types of the quotations. I would use double quotations for the main string, and then I just use the apostrophe for whatever I'm using it for. So that's what I would do. But actually, I bet there's a better solution. So let me search for it. So let's see. I'll search, because that is a very good question. Yeah, if you're trying to write proper sentences. But yeah, that's what I would do for now. But once again, that's a very good question. So I'll actually search and see if I can find what you should do. Okay, so I'm just going to test out something I just saw. I'm not sure if this is. Okay, so I saw somebody put a forward slash me. Okay, so it looks like that works too. Yeah, I was correct. There is probably a better solution than there is. So it looks like you can put a backslash in front of the apostrophe. I'm not sure how that works too. Honestly, I just learned that currently right now because I would have done it a different way. But yeah, this seems like the more faster way. So you can put a backslash in front of the apostrophe and then it'll work. If you decide to use single quotations, of course. If you're using double quotations, you don't even worry about that. But hopefully that answers your question. A good question. Okay, so yeah, if you're gonna use single quotations, I probably recommend you just do the method I just found online. So yeah. Backslash helps you create the escape symbol. Okay, that's cool. Okay, we'll continue on. Thank you. That was a great question. I learned something new too right there. Okay, so let's continue on. Okay, so hopefully we can create if-else statements now. So yeah, this is what this statement means. So what I've shown you with elif, there are actually other ways we can do it. It's pretty optional to use it, but yeah, let's continue on. We're going to discuss that soon. So chained conditionals. That's one of our last topics we're covering for today. So chained conditionals are simply a chain of multiple conditions. We combine conditions using the keywords and, or, not. And, or, and, not, sorry. So yeah, these are our three main keywords we use. We use them for creating chained conditionals. And yeah, so we're going to talk about the first keyword, and. So with the and keyword, pretty much what this statement means. So we have if condition and condition equals true, do this, else do this. Essentially what the statement means is what I just said. So if this condition and this condition are true, so it requires all the multiple conditions you have, it requires them to be all true, and then you can perform whatever operation you want to do. And of course, the else is still the same. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. So we'll test this out for ourselves currently right now. So we'll go back here. Let me see if I can just do Control-Z so we can get back our previous example. Okay, yeah, great. Let me put this all even further back. Okay, so I just loaded up what we had previously. So we're going to erase this elif because we don't need it. So I'll say, we actually don't even really need this example up here. So I'll say, just to even keep it more simple, I'll say if 2 is greater than 4. If 2 is greater 4, and the keyword and to say the multiple things, and I'll say 3 is less than 7. Print that's good. Else print not good. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense. So what we're saying here is that if this condition and this condition, so it requires both of these conditions to be true, if they both are true, then you can move on to the next step, which is print that's good. And it's saying if one of or then we can go through it again and we can say, if this condition isn't true, even if just one of these conditions isn't true, don't do this and then just do this instead. So we'll test this out. So 2 is not greater than 4, so that's false. And then 3 is less than 7, so that is true. So we have both a true condition and a false condition. Sorry, both a false condition and a true condition. Okay, so we're going to get not good because that is the else. So it requires both to be correct. So that leads us into our next keyword we're going to learn. Let's go on to the next slide, which is or. So or basically changes this up a bit. So it no longer requires us to have both conditions to be true. It just says either one of these conditions need to be true, is what the word or means. So yeah, if either of these conditions are true, do this, otherwise do this. And by either, it's saying either or. So like one of these conditions just needs to be true, and then you can do this. If none of them are true, then do this. We're going to test this out again. So now we're just going to simply change this to or. And then now that we have it as or here, it's saying if 2 is greater than 4 is true, if 2 is greater than 4 is true, or 3 is less than 7 is true, print blah, and then otherwise do this. I'm just going to clear this again so everything's more clean. Any questions, by the way, while I'm going through this? So we'll print this, and then we get that's good because one of these is true. 3 is less than 7. So that is correct. So that's using the or keyword. So hopefully that makes sense so far. Once again, I'm looking out for questions. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask them. Okay, so that's the keyword or. So we use it to pass either or. Next is not. So yeah, not pretty much changes the statement completely, or it changes the ending of the statement, because if we remember, we're always saying if this condition is true, if this condition is true, or if this condition is true, if both of these conditions are true. We always are telling it to do if it's true. So what not does is now it's telling us that if this condition is not true, then do this. Otherwise, if it's true, then you can do the else statement. So yeah, it pretty much alters it. So we're going to try that again for ourselves. So something we can actually do, or actually we're going to do that one right after. So for now, we're going to remove this, and we're going to say if not blah, 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 condition, ding, ding. So what do you think the output is going to be for this? What do you think we're going to see? What's going to be printed to the console? That's good or not good? Once again, sorry for the background noise. So what do you think is going to be printed to the console with this if-else statement, with this condition we have, and with this keyword we have as well? Okay, well, anyways, we'll say the answer is probably just a delay in chat. But yeah, so something to note before I actually answer the question is that this might look a little bit confusing, because with the rest of the statements we've created, it's more easy to translate to English. This one, the not, is placed kind of weird because it's right before. So we're saying if not condition, blah, 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 blah. We would actually like it to be at the end, but we can't do that. So this this statement is saying that if 3 is less than 7 is not true, then print that's good, else print not good. So 3 is greater than 7 is, 3 is less than 7 is true. So we're saying not because we basically reverse that, and then it's going to print not good to console. So we'll try that for ourselves. Yep, the else statement will be printed. So we're going to try that for ourselves, and we get not good. So I didn't explain that well, so let me actually just do that again. Okay, so we're saying, because I just mixed up these symbols. So we're saying if 3 is less than 7, what do we think? If 3 is less than 7 is not true, print this to the console. That's what it's saying. And we're saying else, print this to the console. So hopefully that makes sense. So not pretty much reverses it. So you're no longer saying if 3 is less than 7 is true. If 3 less than 7 is true, print this. We're no longer saying that. We're saying If 3 is less than 7 is false, do this. So we're just reversing it. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm not sure if I explained that too well, but it looks like you got it correct. So yeah, we've used not and or. So we're going to test something out. This is going to be a little bit tricky now. So we're going to say if. I'm just going to write this down. You can answer the question. Okay, so what do you think this is going to print to the console? Actually, I'm going to change something quickly just so it's, I guess, makes it easier to read. Okay, so anyways, we're going to continue. Hopefully, you had time to think. Okay, yeah, I got the answer L. So we're just going to explain this again. So something you can do to easily get this answer, because now we have more keywords and it seems a little bit more confusing. So you can just imagine the not's not there, and then we can do this. So we're saying 7 greater than 2. Yeah, that's correct. 2 greater than 4. That's incorrect. So this statement is incorrect completely. So you can't do anything here because one of these is not true. And the and requires all of the conditions to be true. So then with not, though, now we're saying that if this statement is false, do this. So now we're saying if not, 7 is greater than 2 and this is greater than 2. So you can basically treat this as if it was one condition with the and we can say that this is false. So we're saying if this is false, print that's good. So we're actually going to get that's good, I believe. We're going to print that. Okay, I got that incorrect. I think let me see what I got wrong. So if 7 is not greater than 2, and let me remove this again so I can see this clearly. So 2 is greater than 4, that is incorrect. Okay, yeah, so I didn't mix up my wording. So if this is incorrect on its own, so now it's saying if this is incorrect, actually, let me make sure I'm clear on what I'm saying before I continue. 1 second, please. Okay. Hold on, you get out of here. Okay, so if 7 is greater than 2 and 2 is greater than 4, print that's good. So currently this should print not good. Okay, good. Oh, yeah, and then with the not, it reverses that. So now we're saying that if 7 is greater than 2, I'm kind of mixing up my word now. If 7 is greater than 2 and 2 is greater than 4 is, okay, I'm mixing my wording because there's a lot more. But let me see how I can put this in a statement. Let me write this out so it can be more clear. Yeah, I get the answer. I'm trying to figure out how I can say this properly. So if you can also write not. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I can say this, like, because I like translating my stuff so I can just say and remember it easier. So if maybe you guys can help me out. Maybe you guys can help me out. If 7 then greater than 2 and this is not equal, it's not true. If this is not true, so this is already false. And we're saying not. Okay, we'll continue on. I'll look at that on my own. It does make sense that this is not good, but I'm trying to figure out. It's just like a tongue twister. So yeah, we'll continue on. So yeah, that prints else not good. Let me see. Adair, you can also write not 7 and 2, 4. Can? Pardon? I'm a little bit confused. Can you also? I don't know what the parentheses are there for. You want me to write it? Okay. I'm not sure what this is going to do, but I'll write it. It's on the same line as colon here. Okay, so it's prints, that's good. So it prints, that's good now. Let me see. So if this is not true, print, that's good. Okay, so this is what I was originally thinking, I believe. So it's saying that if this is not true, print this. So this is not true because one of these isn't true. So it prints, that's good. You can write if not 7. Let me try writing what you're saying. If not 7 greater than 2 and 2 greater than 4. 7 greater than 2 and 2 greater than 4. Print, that's good. So 7 is greater than 2, 2 is less than 4, so this is false. Then not, so this would print, that's good, not good. So I'm not sure, I'm a little bit confused myself. I don't know what those parentheses did. I'll try it again. Oh, still print's not good. Oh, it got cleared. Oh, did I clear something? Okay, we're just gonna try this one last time just to make sure I'm not, I think I'm messing up somewhere badly. But we're just going to do this one last time. So if not 7 greater than 2 and 2 less than, or something, these same numbers. If 7 is greater than 2, or this is true now, if 7 is greater than 2, that's true, and 2 is less than 4, that's also true, and then it says not. So if this is true, basically reverse it, and then print. I'll leave it like that. We don't need an else currently. I think I'm mixing up how I'm saying not. I think I'm saying it incorrectly. Oh, okay. So if 7 is greater than 2 and 2 is less than 4, so this is true. So not is saying if this is not true, print this, I believe. Let me test that out. Okay, I think I got it back. So if this is not true, print this out. So it is true. So I think if I change this to a larger number, so now this is incorrect, it's going to print whatever gibberish that is. And it does not. Oh, sorry, that statement's actually incorrect. 7 is less than 2. 6 is greater than 4. So both of these are true. So it's saying if this is not true, let me run this. The person's. Oh, sorry. I believe I'm slowing down the class. We'll just leave this and I'll learn on my own, it looks like. Let me look at chat. Not. Okay, I guess I'll do what you're saying. I'll make it more clear with parentheses. Okay. So 7 greater than 2 is true. 6 greater than 4 is also true. So this would work on its own. So not basically just makes that so it does not work, so nothing will print. So if I have this by itself, it will print it. Okay, and if I have this here, it will not print it. Okay, we're gonna do one more so I can actually test myself. Now I need to test myself. So let me think of another one we can do. We're gonna try or. So if I even read my sentence, if 4 is less than 5 or 5 is less than 8. So this is 5 is less than 8. That is true. So one of these is true. So now I think it's not going to print anything because not reverses it. So it's no longer checking if it's true. Let me make sure I'm correct. So 4, let me make sure. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm mixing up my statements. Let me look at my slides so I can see what I wrote. Or actually, if this condition is not true, do this. Otherwise, do this. Okay, it makes more sense. We're going to speed through now. If this condition is not true, so this is getting even more complicated because we have or. So if this condition is not true, so we can say this condition is not true, and then we can say this condition is true. So it's going to take it as, we're going to discuss this later. We're just end the class quickly so I can learn this on my own. Anyways, that's my mix up. I apologize for that. Looks like I need to do more studying around that. But anyways, good job because you did not get that right. Or you did get that right. Okay. So extra activity. Since we're going overtime, I don't want to take up your time. Anyways, create a Python program that collects a password and tells you if it's incorrect or correct. So of course, that password just basically means a string, and the user enters a string in your Python program, wants a specific type of string, and it tells you if it's the string it wants or not, the string it doesn't want. Then I'd also like you to complete lesson 14 to 18 on solo learn. It's very important that you complete these lessons as we will only briefly be discussing the topics they cover in class. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the class. I apologize for my mix-up. I think I'm just having a brain fart, so I'll look at that right now. Oh, also, one last thing I have to say. 1 second. V, I need you to stay for like 2 more minutes. I need to find something quickly. Okay. I was not able to submit homework last time. I didn't get docs file attached to it, so how do I submit my homework? Let me check the Google Classroom. Oh yeah, I did have a mistake on my side. I just recently uploaded. I didn't upload the extra activities on time for you, so it should be there now. Actually, it's already there. The extra activities for day 4 is also there. Also, I was wondering what coding languages do you? Because I believe you said you learned C# previously. Do you know? I'm just curious to know what coding languages do you know already? Hopefully, you're still here. So repeat the question in case if I know C#, Arduino, Raspberry Pi, and HTML. Okay, that's great that you know all of these languages. I was wondering, would you be interested in teaching? Would you be interested in like late in November? Would you be interested in becoming a mentor and teaching one of these subjects? Because because pretty much what I'm doing now currently, just to give you more of a see if you want the opportunity. So learningwithme.org is looking for more mentors. So pretty much just people who know stuff and can teach it to other people, of course, youth as well. So yeah, you can get volunteer hours. Of course, you can also get paid. And yeah, you just have to basically be doing what I'm doing. Probably gonna be a lot more people than I'm doing currently because this is a tinier class right now. But yeah, are you interested in teaching any of those languages? Maybe you can even pick up another language if you'd like and learn that one and then go teach it. Doesn't have to be these ones. Maybe JavaScript. JavaScript would be cool. But yeah, C# maybe. C# is also very, very cool. So are you interested in even HTML? Are you interested in teaching any languages? Because I do know they are looking for mentors currently. And yeah, I believe you're in India, so you can also help mentor your other people in India because there are a lot of people applying for learningwithme.org in India, I believe. But correct me if I'm wrong, if you're in India. So yeah, are you interested? Hopefully, you probably have a lot of questions. I'm not sure if I explained that too well. Thanks for asking. I'll see over that because my schedule's right now. Okay. If I get time in my schedule, I'd love to teach. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you probably need volunteer hours where you are. You can get that as well. Of course, you can get paid. Yeah, it's cool. And of course, you learn along the way, like I'm learning right now as well. So yeah, that's great. We'll probably talk to you more. We probably have your email, I believe, so we can talk to you through there. But yeah, pretty much it's just in November. Yeah, it's in November. How many languages do I know? Right now, pretty much Python, HTML, and CSS. Those are the ones I currently teach. I want to learn JavaScript next. And yeah, I want to learn JavaScript next, and I want to learn something in JavaScript. And maybe I'll go learn stuff like C# as well. All right, do you know that's cool? Okay, yeah, that's the end of the class. I'm just gonna be in this comment and figure out what I was doing wrong. Yeah, okay. But yeah, good job today. Yeah, hopefully we get to see you next time. Oh, that's cool. I'm 15 years old currently. If not for if if the statement is not true, if it's conditioned. Yep. See you next class. That was a good class. I'm still here trying to figure out what I did. Next class, I'll tell you if I got it. But yeah, thank you for trying it. Good class. I'll see you next time, Ivy. Thank you for coming. Hopefully you learned something new.